Hey everyone, welcome back to Low Code Talks, powered by Exponential Digital, the show where we explore how low code platforms are reshaping the way businesses build, scale, and automate.
And I'm your co host, Subashree. If you're a Zoho Creator developer, a solutions architect, or even a business leader curious about what's next in automation, you're in the right place.
That's right. In each episode, we bring you real stories, deep dives into new features, and practical insights from the projects we build here at Exponential.
Today's episode is a big one, especially for those of you who rely on location intelligence in your Zoho Creator apps.
We're talking about the new high performance Zoho Maps integration update in Deluge. That means faster geocoding, smarter address lookups, and better structured responses for tasks like geocode, reverse geocode, and distance between.
Exactly. Now, that might sound like a small technical tweak, but for developers who manage logistics, field operations, or any kind of real world location tracking, this change is a game changer.
It's not just about speed, it's about accuracy, scalability, and the ability to build apps that understand context. For instance, instead of just fetching latitude and longitude, you now get detailed, structured address components, all in a clean JSON like response.
And we at Exponential have already started adapting our own apps to this new structure. We'll be sharing exactly how we did that, what challenges we faced, how we re architected our Deluge workflows, and the framework we built internally to make these transitions smoother for every project that uses Zoho Maps.
We'll also talk about the why behind this change. What motivated Zoho to rebuild the backend, what developers need to update before this rollout goes live, and how this aligns with the larger trend of performance driven low code platforms.
Plus, we're adding something new in today's episode, a developer corner segment where we break down the new response structure line by line, and a customer case study where we'll share how one of our clients in the metal scrap trading industry saw their distance calculation workflow go from lagging to lightning fast.
So, whether you're sipping your morning coffee or debugging that tricky deluge script, stick around. We've got a lot to unpack.
Coming up right after this short intro break, why location data is the silent backbone of modern automation, and how this update changes the way Zoho Creator apps interact with maps forever.
Welcome back, everyone. Before we get into the nitty gritty of Zoho Maps' new performance updates, let's pause for a second and talk about something bigger. Why location really matters in today's business apps.
Absolutely. Location data has quietly become the backbone of digital transformation. Think about it. Almost every process we design today has a where element built in.
Exactly. Whether it's logistics, field service operations, sales route planning, or asset tracking, location is the hidden layer that connects everything. You can have the best CRM, ERP, or HR system, but without knowing where your people or assets are, it's incomplete.
Right? And at Exponential, we see this every day with our clients. Some of them manage 1,000 plus site visits daily, technicians moving across states, vehicles carrying materials from one depot to another, and sales reps mapping out visits to distributors.
And in those cases, accurate geocoding and distance calculation aren't just nice to have, they literally drive decision making. If your system tells you the wrong distance or pinpoints a location a few blocks off, it can impact scheduling, delivery accuracy, and even fuel costs.
That's true. And for many businesses, it's not just about finding a place, it's about understanding context. When a system can convert a GPS coordinate into a readable address or calculate the fastest route between 2 points, it becomes smarter, more human.
And that's where Zoho Maps comes in. It's built right into the Zoho ecosystem, a low code, developer friendly layer that lets us tap into location intelligence without needing external APIs or complicated setups.
Exactly. Through Deluge, Zoho's scripting language, developers can integrate map functionalities like geocoding, reverse geocoding, or finding distance between 2 points, all inside Zoho Creator or CRM.
And what's great is that it blends seamlessly into workflows. For example, when a sales rep logs a client visit in Zoho Creator, the app can automatically capture the coordinates and map them to the client's address.
Or take logistics. When a driver updates the delivery status from their mobile app, the backend can instantly calculate how far they are from the next drop off location.
All of this sounds simple, but it's powerful because every second saved in field movement or every accurate address mapped translates directly into better customer experience and lower operational cost.
Exactly. It's digital transformation in motion. You're not just automating forms, you're making business spatially intelligent.
And you know what's interesting? Until recently, most of this location intelligence depended on APIs outside the Zoho ecosystem, like Google Maps or Mapbox.
Yes, and that created challenges with cost, dependency, and data privacy. But with Zoho Maps, the entire flow stays within Zoho's ecosystem, which means faster responses, better compliance, and a unified data experience.
And that's what makes today's discussion so important. Zoho has now introduced a new high performance backend for Zoho Maps. It's not just a speed upgrade, it's a structural transformation.
Right. But before we jump into the update itself, let's talk about what things looked like before this change. The challenges developers and businesses faced with the old Zoho Maps integration.
Because understanding that journey will make the impact of this upgrade much clearer.
Absolutely. So, in our next segment, let's rewind a bit and explore the hurdles, what made location based automation tricky, and how teams like ours at Xponential worked around them.
All right, let's jump right into the big question everyone's been asking. What exactly is new in this Zoho Maps update?
This is where it gets exciting. Zoho has rolled out a high performance backend overhaul that powers all three of the core map tasks inside Deluge, Geocode, Reverse Geocode, and Distance Between.
Now, on the surface, that might sound like a small tweak, the same three functions you've always used. But under the hood, the entire processing pipeline has been redesigned for speed, precision, and scalability.
Exactly. Think of it as Zoho upgrading from a single lane road to a 6 lane expressway. Your requests reach the destination faster, and the data you get back is far richer and cleaner.
That's the first major difference performance. Earlier, a single geocode call might take anywhere between 1 to 3 seconds depending on network latency or server load. With the new backend, we're seeing response times consistently under 500 milliseconds. That's nearly 4 to 5 times faster.
And that's not just a win for developers, it's a massive win for users. Imagine a sales visit app where the agents check in by address. That check in now feels instantaneous instead of laggy.
Right? The second major improvement is the response structure. Zoho has moved away from the old flat map response to a hierarchical JSON format.
Meaning, instead of getting a jumble of keys like latitude, longitude, address, you now receive a clean nested structure that separates geometry, formatted address, and components.
For example, the new geocode response might look something like this.
Look at how readable that is. You know exactly where to pick the formatted address from, where the coordinates live, and what each part of the address represents.
And that extra confidence field, that's new too. It helps you measure how sure the geocoder is about the match. Super handy when you're validating bulk address data.
Absolutely. Plus, for the reverse geocode task, Zoho has added support for more granular address breakdowns. You can now pull not just the city or street, but also sub localities, administrative levels, even landmarks when available.
That's going to save developers tons of parsing effort. Earlier, you had to manually slice address strings to extract city or postal codes. Now, the API hands it to you cleanly.
And then there's the distance between tasks. It now benefits from enhanced routing logic, especially for point to point calculations that consider real world road data rather than just straight line distances.
So, instead of saying these two coordinates are 5 kilometers apart as the crow flies, you now get a distance that actually reflects the drivable route. Huge for logistics and field operations.
And Zoho didn't stop there. They've made the new structure forward compatible, which means if new fields are added later, maybe ETA, traffic conditions, or alternate routes, your existing code won't break as long as you parse responsibly.
Exactly. This forward compatibility is a quiet but powerful upgrade. It signals that Zoho is future proofing its Maps API for upcoming AI driven insights and ZIA integrations.
So, to sum it up, three core improvements: speed, structure, and scalability. Faster results, a cleaner response format, and the flexibility to grow with your app.
And for developers, that translates to fewer headaches, cleaner code, and happier users.
Coming up next, we'll rewind a bit and talk about what challenges existed before this change, the pain points developers faced, and how this overhaul directly addresses them.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this short break. You know, before this new Zoho Maps update, the whole experience wasn't exactly smooth sailing.
Yeah, let's be honest. We've all been there. Integrating Zoho Maps in Deluge used to feel a bit unpredictable. Sometimes you'd get a precise, structured response, and sometimes it would just return coordinates without context.
Exactly, we'd call the Zoho dot map dot geocode function, expecting a full address breakdown, and instead we'd get a minimal result, just latitude and longitude. Developers had to manually fetch city names, postal codes, or even cross check details using third party APIs.
Oh, and don't get me started on the latency spikes. During peak hours or heavy volume lookups, responses would slow down noticeably. For workflows that required quick turnarounds, like delivery tracking or real time location verification, that lag was a real blocker.
That's right. Many teams started implementing manual caching layers just to avoid hitting the same location repeatedly and overloading the request limit.
Yeah, in fact, at Xponential, our developers had to get creative. We built custom retry logics using Deluge's task dot try and task dot catch to handle failed calls. Because if one lookup failed, it could disrupt an entire automation chain.
And that's not just a small inconvenience. When you're working on systems that depend on map accuracy, say logistics routing, territory management, or even service assignments. Every failed or inconsistent response causes data integrity issues down the line.
Exactly. Plus, the old response format lacked structured JSON formatting. It was simple, almost too simple. You couldn't easily extract just the city or postal code without writing complex parsing logic.
And think about maintenance. Every time Zoho made a minor backend change, developers had to adjust their parsing scripts or workflows because the field names weren't always consistent.
True. The lack of standardization meant no two implementations look the same. One project would store map responses in a single line field, another in a JSON field, another in a subform, and debugging became a nightmare.
And then there's scalability. When clients started using Zoho Creator for large scale applications, think fleet management or nationwide service tracking, the old integration just couldn't keep up with performance expectations.
Right. The processing time grew exponentially with each lookup. If you had 500 plus addresses to geocode in one go, you would either hit rate limits or experience serious delays.
So, yeah, before this backend rebuild, Zoho Maps integration was functional but not frictionless. It worked, but it needed optimization and modern structuring to match how developers actually use data today.
Which brings us to why this update is so crucial. It's not just a technical enhancement, it's about reliability, developer confidence, and long term scalability.
Exactly. This upgrade finally brings the performance, structure, and flexibility that developers like us and teams at Xponential have been waiting for.
And I think this sets the stage perfectly for our next part, where we'll discuss how Xponential tackled these challenges before the update and what the transition looked like once the new response structure went live.
Yes, because we didn't just adapt, we innovated.
All right, developers, this is for you. Let's dissect the new geocode response.
Previously, a simple result like latitude 12.34 and longitude 77.56. Now, it looks more like this.
That structure gives us flexibility. You can store specific address paths, rank by confidence, or even show boundary overlays in widgets.
Exactly. For reverse geocode, it's the same principle, structured and predictable.
So now that we've looked at what changed and why, let's pull back the curtain and talk about how we at Exponential handled this update internally.
Yeah, because this update wasn't just a patch or a small fix, it was a deep structural shift. And when you're managing multiple applications, like we do for clients across logistics, HR, and field services, even a small change in response format can have ripple effects.
Exactly. To give everyone a sense of scale, we had about 14 active Zoho Creator applications running map based tasks. Everything from logistics monitoring to geotagged attendance, field inspection mapping, and location based deal allocation.
Right? The first thing we did when Zoho announced the backend upgrade was to audit every single Deluge function that touched Zoho Maps. We wanted to know, where are these tasks used? How dependent are our workflows on their responses? And what parts of the logic would break with a new structure?
And that was step one, discovery. We built an internal spreadsheet mapping each app, module, and form that was using one of the three Zoho Maps tasks: geocode, a reverse geocode, or distance between.
Then came the hard part, testing the new response structure. The updated Zoho Maps responses are now JSON based, which means we get nested details like address components, postal codes, and contextual data in a much cleaner way.
But to make that migration smooth, we realized something important. If Zoho ever updates these structures again in the future, we don't want to go through this audit every single time.
Exactly. So we built what we now call our Expo Map Utils wrapper module.
This was the game changer.
Yeah, basically instead of calling zoho.map.geocode or zoho.map.reverse.geocode directly from every function, we created a centralized layer, one single Deluge script library that handles all map calls.
So, whenever an app needs to geocode an address, it doesn't call Zoho Maps directly anymore. It calls expo map utils.geocode, open parenthesis, address, close parenthesis. Inside that function, we handle Zoho's response, parse it, extract the relevant fields, and return only the clean standardized output that our apps need.
And the beauty is if Zoho changes their structure again in the future, we just update the wrapper logic once and all 14 apps automatically start working with the new format. No mass code updates, no workflow disruptions.
Exactly. That's what we mean by enterprise grade scalability. Even though Zoho Creator is a low code platform, we treat it like a professional software stack, modular, maintainable, and future ready.
And we didn't stop there. We also added logging and fallback mechanisms inside that wrapper. So if a Zoho Maps task ever fails, say a timeout or an unexpected response, the wrapper logs the failure and either retrieves with cached data or sends an alert to the admin team.
Oh, yes, that alert system saved us a ton of debugging time during the transition phase. We actually discovered a few edge cases, like certain rural coordinates that didn't return complete address info, and our fallback logic automatically filled those from prior cache entries.
Another smart move was version control. We created a migration flag within the wrapper. So during rollout, we could switch apps one by one from the old format to the new format. That allowed parallel testing, no downtime, no mass deployment risk.
And I think that's an important takeaway for any developers listening today. When you manage multiple Zoho Creator applications, centralize your critical logic, whether it's maps, CRM sync, or work drive file management, wrap it in one reusable module.
Exactly. It's the difference between reactive maintenance and proactive design.
And the best part? This approach also made our client handovers smoother because we could assure clients that even if Zoho changes things under the hood, their app experience remains stable. And that's huge for confidence.
Absolutely. And this also allowed our team to take advantage of the new Zoho Maps features right away, like improved accuracy and contextual metadata without rewriting a single workflow.
Yeah, that's what made this upgrade more than just technical housekeeping. It actually elevated how we design creator applications.
In short, the Zoho Maps upgrade gave us a reason to refactor, but the wrapper gave us the scalability to move fast and stay safe.
I love that. Move fast and stay safe. That should be our new motto.
Totally. And I think this segment perfectly sums up Xponential's philosophy. Every change is an opportunity to innovate, not just adapt.
Coming up next, we'll talk about the impact, how these changes improved speed, accuracy, and developer experience, and how clients reacted once the upgrade rolled out.
Stay tuned. It's where we see how all that technical work translates into real business outcomes.
All right, let's shift gears a bit. We've talked about the journey, the migration, the wrapper, but now let's get into what developers really care about: performance metrics.
Yes, the real magic happens under the hood. So, here's the deal. The new Zoho Maps backend isn't just a facelift. It's a complete architectural rewrite built on optimized caching, multi threaded lookup layers, and horizontally scalable infrastructure.
Right. And those three words, caching, parallelization, and scalability, are the holy trinity of speed in API based systems.
Absolutely. To put that into perspective, earlier, a typical Zoho.map.geo code call might take anywhere between 600 to 900 milliseconds, depending on region, network, and load. Now, with the new backend, your first call averages around 300 milliseconds, and subsequent identical calls drop to under 100 milliseconds, thanks to smart caching.
That's a massive improvement. And it's not just about one time lookups. Think about workflows that rely on repeated location requests, like when a logistics app validates multiple addresses in a route plan. Those milliseconds add up quickly.
Exactly. The new caching layer ensures that repeated lookups for the same address don't hit the core API again. They're served instantly from the cache. That's how the system manages to deliver consistent sub 100 millisecond performance on subsequent requests.
And that's what makes it possible to build real time dashboards now. Imagine you're tracking 100 plus moving assets on a live Zoho Creator map view, each one updating location data every few seconds, and it all renders smoothly without lag or queuing delays.
It's incredible. And this isn't just theoretical. We actually tested it during one of our internal load simulations at Xponential. We set up a creator app to geocode 1,000 random addresses using a scheduled Deluge task. And even at that scale, the performance remained stable.
That's right. And because the API now scales horizontally, the system can handle larger batches efficiently. So, whether you're geocoding 10 addresses or 10,000, the processing happens across distributed nodes, reducing bottlenecks.
Previously, if you tried to run a heavy geocoding job like bulk verifying customer addresses or recalculating distances, you risked timeouts or throttling errors. Now, with horizontal scaling and better concurrency control, those workflows complete up to 60% faster.
And that's huge for Deluge developers because now they can safely run bulk jobs through scheduled workflows or custom functions without breaking runtime limits.
Plus, the response payload is lighter. The backend only returns relevant address data and metadata structured cleanly in JSON. So even parsing becomes quicker, reducing the overall script execution time in Creator.
We actually noticed this when we tested our Expo Map Utils wrapper. Before, parsing the old flat responses took around 250 to 300 milliseconds. With the new structured JSON, it dropped to around 120 milliseconds. That's nearly half the time just in data handling.
And it's not just about numbers. This upgrade fundamentally changes what's possible inside Zoho Creator. You can now build interactive live maps, real time delivery boards, or distance based route optimizers that feel native, not delayed or API bound.
Exactly. It bridges the gap between low code and high performance. Creator apps can now handle spatial workloads that were once considered too heavy for a low code environment.
And I love that this opens the door to future scalability. Zoho has built this backend with microservices in mind, which means new features like time zone lookup, place type recognition, or route optimization can be added seamlessly later on.
So, in short, less lag, more power, and a whole new level of confidence for developers building location driven applications in Zoho Creator.
Exactly. And as we like to say at Exponential, performance isn't just a technical win, it's a user experience win.
Coming up next, we'll take these numbers and translate them into real world outcomes. How faster map responses turned into smoother workflows, happier users, and measurable business impact.
Stay tuned. The results are worth the wait.
Finally, let's talk about what's next. Where do you see location intelligence heading inside Zoho Creator over the next year or two?
Oh, this is where it gets really exciting. We're just scratching the surface right now. With Zoho Maps' new backend and structured JSON responses, the foundation is set for a whole new layer of intelligence. I'm expecting to see routing optimization, real time tracking APIs, and even dynamic heat maps integrated directly within Creator widgets.
That would be a total game changer. Imagine, instead of static coordinates, you have live moving data streams updating every few seconds. You could track your field teams, shipments, your even assets in real time, all visualized directly in a creator dashboard.
Exactly. And with the structured JSON now being a standard, the data is so much easier to parse and manipulate. This makes it possible to integrate Zia, Zoho's AI assistant, into location based decision making. Think of Zia analyzing patterns like delivery delays, traffic hotspots, or customer cluster zones, and then suggesting smarter routes or resource placements automatically.
That's not just efficiency, that's intelligence built into operations.
Spot on. And at Xponential, we've already begun exploring that future. Our R&D team is working on AI-driven route recommendation models that merge Zoho Maps data with creators' operational workflows. Essentially, the app can learn from your usage patterns, the routes you take, delivery times, stop durations, and then recommend the most efficient route next time.
So, a creator app that doesn't just store data, but thinks with it. That's powerful.
Exactly. We're also experimenting with predictive location insights, like estimating delivery delays based on live traffic data or weather conditions. It's all about combining the best of Zoho Maps geographical intelligence with creators' automation and Zia's contextual learning.
And what's beautiful is how seamlessly Zoho's ecosystem supports this. You've got maps for location data, Creator for workflow logic, and Zia for insights, all within one stack. No need for third party connectors or complex API juggling.
That's right. The future of Creator isn't just about form automation or record management anymore. It's about spatial intelligence. Apps that understand where as much as they understand what and when.
I love that. Spatial intelligence. It's where data meets direction.
Exactly. And this is only the beginning. Once Zoho releases full fledged live tracking and route optimization APIs, we'll see creator apps evolve from being static tools into living systems that move, react, and respond in real time.
So, to our listeners, stay tuned because the map isn't the limit anymore, it's the starting point.
Perfectly said. Exciting times ahead indeed.
Absolutely. And with teams like Xponential leading the charge, the future of Zoho Creator looks smarter, faster, and more connected than ever.
That's a wrap for today's episode on Zoho Maps' new backend integration.
Huge thanks to everyone tuning in. If you found value in this discussion, follow Low Code Talks on your favorite platform.
Keep experimenting, keep building, and remember, innovation is just a deluge script away.
See you next time.